Hi folks, it's that time of the week again. Welcome to another 5-Minute Friday here on Meaningful Money. Okay, I'm going to do something slightly different here, and I'll be dotting these videos in and out of the questions that you send me. So remember, if you've got any question you want me to answer about personal finance, try and keep it on subject if we can, then just go to meaningfulmoney.tv/askpete and send me an email or a voicemail. But in between times, I want to revisit some of the really old videos. Now, I started doing videos in 2010, and I started doing them outside using this video camera. Hang on. This little device. 720p high definition with little built-in USB stick, and about the first 100 videos were shot on this thing. Nowadays we're a little bit more sophisticated. You should see the amount of kit that I'm surrounded by right now. But some of those old videos need updating, I think, so I'm going to do that here in a somewhat more controllable environment of my studio. Maybe I'll green screen in some nice views of Cornish coastline or something. Probably not, actually. So I want to go right back to the start, building up a bunch of how-to, what is kind of videos, starting right at the beginning with something called the money mindset. So let's crack on with that and put 5 minutes on the clock down here. Say a quick thank you to my friends 7 Investment Management down here for sponsoring the show, and let's crack on. The thing about building wealth is that it takes time, or at least it should do. Generally speaking, money which comes at people too quickly is dangerous, and usually it doesn't hang around for very long. We've all heard the stories of 18-year-old superstar footballers who end up bankrupt and depressed in their mid-20s because they just can't handle the wealth as it comes to them so quickly. Likewise, there are plenty of stories of miserable lottery winners. So quick wealth doesn't guarantee happiness, whereas wealth built up over time generally tends to stick around. And if it's taken effort and hard work to build it up, then we tend to take it a bit more seriously and be more grateful for it. And gratitude is a fantastic mindset in which to live your life. Now, we would all love to be able to retire next week, but for most of us that isn't going to happen. So if we are to build wealth slowly and deliberately, there are 3 things that we need to know. First thing you need to know is that the world is full of distractions, and that's okay. It's a rich and bountiful world, and there's all kinds of stuff that can take our focus away from our future. For me, if you could see the amount of technology in the room that I'm filming this in, you might get some kind of hint as to what my personal weakness is. I love the tech, right? And it's easy for me to spend money on stuff that I don't need simply because it's shiny and new. Now, that's not to say that I don't spend money on that stuff, but when I do, it's deliberate, it's thought through. More on that in a minute. It's important to be aware that the world is full of these distractions and to be aware of your own personal weaknesses. Because if you're aware of the things that are likely to turn your head and distract you from the end goal, which is becoming financially free, then you can deal with them when they arise. So that's number 1. The world is full of distractions, and we just need to be aware of our own particular weaknesses. Number 2, wealth comes to those who are intentional. I love that word because it speaks of being deliberate about what we're doing, rather than just kind of crossing our fingers and hoping stuff comes to us. It seems like the universe is built in such a way that it's pretty rare that anything good comes to people who don't put any work in. Of course, there are always exceptions to that rule, which sucks, but that's life. Even an unexpected inheritance from your Auntie Gladys probably is only going to come because you visit her once a week on your way home from work. To use perhaps a better example, no athlete ever fell out of bed and landed on the podium. It takes years of sacrifice, hard work, training on Christmas Day, blood, sweat and tears to get a gold medal. Building wealth is a little bit like winning a gold medal, just a little bit. Because essentially the mechanics of running a race are pretty simple, right? You put one leg in front of the other really quick and you try and do that quicker than anybody else on the track. But while the mechanics are simple, the achievement of a gold medal is clearly not easy. And building wealth is the same. The how-to, the stuff you need to do to build wealth, anybody can understand and anybody can do. But it takes persistence and being intentional, being deliberate about the stuff that we do, the steps that we take to build wealth over time. It takes work over years, but that's okay. And the third thing you need to be aware of as we talk about building wealth and getting into the money mindset is that nobody cares more about you than you. You are without question the person best placed to take control of your own financial future. Sure, other people care about you, but your inheritance probably is going to take a backseat to maybe your parents paying for a really nice care home one day. So we can't rely on other people. Ultimately, it's down to you. And so you need to decide that you are going to take control. It's a decision that you need to make now, and a decision that you will need to continue making as you retain a laser focus throughout the years of wealth building so that you don't get sidetracked. The great news is that the journey itself is great fun as well. It's not all about the end goal. Building wealth is fun, it's exciting, there are setbacks, but just like any great movie, the setbacks usually end up in a happy ending. And the same can be said for you and your financial well-being if you're prepared to accept the challenge of making good decisions consistently over time. Nobody else is going to do this for you. It's down to you. So those are the 3 things we need to know to get into the money mindset. Number 1, the world is full of distractions. Number 2, wealth comes to those who are intentional about building wealth for the future. And 3, no one cares more about you than you. It's down to you, so let's do it. So what do you think? Are you in? Next time I'm going to talk about 2 things we need to do to really cement the money mindset so that we can build for the future. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening if you're on the podcast, and I'll talk to you next week.